Hey folks, this is Mike here with another NoScript video on Dying Light, as well as the expansion Dying Light The Following. As usual, these NoScript videos, I'm just going to load up the game, talk about it without really scripting or planning or editing these things ahead of time. So basically, one straight take, we have some fun with it, and I just upload the video right after. Since these things do take a couple hours, and by a couple hours I mean probably a day or two to upload on my relatively slow and poor internet. But anyways, such is life. I save all of that time by not editing. So, what do I have to say about this game? We're not going to try and spoil anything here. We're just going to kind of casually speak about kind of the overall experience, if you will. So start off here with the basics. The very basic thing that a lot of these games are about is this movement. You can kind of traverse anything you see, you can get there. Maybe one or two small exceptions, but you know, that building in the distance there, guess what? We can get to it. We can almost make it up there. Oh, actually we can. There's no practical way to jump over here, but you know, we can jump on the bins, we can climb the wall here. And yeah, very simple, very straightforward. You know, they also give you kind of paths to take to get to one area to another. So you can spend a lot of time in the air, avoiding the zombies below kind of deal. And yeah, this traversal is a very strong part of the game. Now, one of the things that kind of happens though is, well, they have upgrades and stuff, right? They kind of want to give you a reason to progress. They kind of want to make you feel better over time. And so, one of the upgrades you wind up getting, which in some ways kind of takes away a lot of the game, is the grapple hook. Mind you, I like it a lot. Right? Despite having all this nice design and all of these ideas to, you know, really design the level in such a way that traversing the cityscape is pretty easy, pretty efficient, you wind up relying a lot on the grapple hook later on. Now it's important to note, this city is a bit denser than what you see in the original game. This is actually the expansion map, which, as you can see, this is pretty much the only city. It's all like farms and stuff. It's very open terrain. And so, because in the original game, you wind up kind of, not necessarily breaking the movement, but you wind up being able to traverse the city so quickly and so efficiently by, you know, just being able to jump around and grapple hook combo your way around. They decided to kind of mix it up and get you to use vehicles instead here. And so that kind of gives you a new branch of things to upgrade and worry about and craft and whatnot. Because, well, your vehicle is now your important movement thing for the expansion. So I think they did a new job with that. You know, the fact that they introduced a different mechanic, an entirely different way to traverse the game, an entirely different way, or a different thing, different mechanic. Well, basically, they didn't just come out with another city thing, right? That would be the easy thing to do for an expansion, just add another city, throw some more story in. But they instead went the hard way, if you will. Ow. Oops. Oh, well, hey, I could zap him from here. Finish him off. You silly bandits. So yeah, I like the fact that they put a lot of effort into it in that sense. You know, they not only added a new area, but they completely overhauled the way the game plays in a sense in that area. Yeah, they kept all the familiar stuff. They kept all your high level things you would have had in the base game. But they now they now rely on different things for the DLC, such as the vehicle. Of course, not the DLC, the expansion pack. I want to stress expansion pack and not DLC because this really is a significant upgrade over the base game. They really do add a lot of content here. It's not. All right, we're heading to the orange marker. So that doesn't seem right. We're heading to the edge of the map. But again, similarly to how I talked about, the movement being kind of not necessarily nullified or nerfed or whatever. We're gonna be seeing a lot of these. Jeez. Let's try and heal up real quick. Great. I should use my gun. Okay. Switch to this thing. God damn. This dude's doing some serious damage to me. Alright. Nope. Pop some headshots here. There you go, they're easy to deal with. Headshots. Oh, unfortunately everyone died. Oh, gee. Such is life. Oh. This poor guy. There you go, we say, oh, well, the random encounter still happened. Oh, well. Whatever. We'll keep going here. But yeah, similarly to how that stuff works. Yeah, the weapons and the crafting. Can we make it up here? We're not supposed to be coming through this way. No. Probably could, but let's go around the proper way. Which would be... Oh, back there. Okay. But yeah, the weapons wind up being kind of a similar situation as well, where early game, in the base game, and health as well, while we're at it, right? Crafting is a very important thing. You gotta craft med packs, because you get hit a lot, you lose a lot of... You don't have much health to begin with. You lose a lot of health on top of that when you get hit. And you're just really fragile overall. Oh, I didn't want to get in. Alright. What do we need for this to be a safe area? Okay, these fences are toast. Oh, it's up there, isn't it? Yeah. Alright, what needs to be done here? Probably have to turn up power up here somewhere. Come on. Yeah, like I was saying, you wind up trivializing some of the aspects of the game because crafting doesn't really carry much importance anymore. Just because you can very easily what do we have? There's something down here to do. Let's do the thing down here first, which is probably the power inside of this building. Yep. There'll be power inside the building. This here. So yeah, I think it's nice if we pop in our inventory in a sec here. It's nice that there's a lot of blueprints. Right? If you got a weak weapon here, we can upgrade it. We can add different things that increase different stats. We can also... Oh, we can't craft that one. Take this wicked dagger, for example. We can craft a lot of stuff. A lot of different status effects, a lot of different modifiers to the base weapon. And yeah, it's one of those things where, again, early game, you have relatively weak weapons. You're not doing a lot of damage. You're really fragile. And so, let me just try and mute here to cough for a sec. Hey, I still have a working mute button. Excellent. But yeah, because you're so weak and fragile, upgrades and having strong weapons is important because that's kind of your way to be able to defend and fend off zombies really quickly. The whole terrain traversal stuff is really important as well, because you want to spend the least amount of time possible exposed on the ground fighting zombies and whatnot. But as you progress further and further into the game, that stuff becomes less and less important. So if there's one complaint, is that a lot of these neat mechanics kind of lose importance kind of quickly, which not necessarily fault of the game in that sense, but it's the kind of thing where I almost don't have much of a choice either, because I tell you, the upgrades are nice. You do feel like a complete badass being able to deal with a lot of zombies very easily, defeating stuff very easily. Usually there's a nice collectible flag up here. Yeah, the game has a lot of content, right? I've spent 40 hours, or me and Nick, we both spent 40 hours on this game because we played it co-op. We played practically the entire game co-op. The reason I say practically is, oh hey, there's actually a blueprint. That's cool. No little flag or collectible, but actually a useful item. Good times. Yeah, you play the entire game co-op, minus the kind of the ending sequences, which works fine for me. And I think in a lot of ways this game is a little bit more enjoyable, right? I don't particularly like open world games because you find yourself, hey, go do a mission here, go do a mission on here, go do a mission here, bring back your stuff up here and up here. And it's just a lot of fetching, a lot of going back and forward. I didn't notice there's an airdrop. Probably going to be too late by the time we get there, but hey, let's give it a go. Oh. Poor guy. He'll have to fend for himself, because I ain't going to help him. Yeah, playing this game co-op was pretty enjoyable. It makes it a little bit easier in a lot of ways, especially with some of the stronger enemies. They kind of have to split their attention between both of you. Yeah, there's a few more zombies, but they don't tend to spawn more special zombies. And so the game does become a little bit easy. But other than the ending sequences, you can complete the entire game. Even if you're not necessarily at the same point of the game, as long as the person with the least amount of progression hosts the game, you can play. Oh, you're gonna shoot? Oh no, you're not gonna shoot. You're gonna do that kind of stuff, eh? Oh, they fight back. I can also fight back. It's usually easier to deal with them with a gun, but trying to make this interesting. But yeah, co-op stuff. If you're playing with someone who's played less of the game, good. You get to keep your progress, but if they're further ahead than you, you don't magically complete those missions. You do have to go back and complete them. So keep that in mind. The game does warn you about that anyways, because they expect people to be playing co-op. And it's a lot more fun that way, right? Like I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of these games, these kinds of games, mostly because you spend a lot of time kind of fetching and doing stuff. Which, for someone with a huge Steam backlog, ooh, that looks cool, we'll buy that. These kinds of games are not the best, right? Putting 40 hours into it, after all. Not my favorite when you have hundreds, well maybe not hundreds, but at least a good 50 games or so backlogged. Some of them I'm a bit more hyped and interested for, so you don't want to spend too much time on these kinds of games. But despite that, I've still had a lot of fun playing it. you know, the co-op experience, it's no different than the single player really, other than just playing with someone else. But that alone makes it a little more interesting, a little more entertaining. Makes it a little more easier as well, because you can kind of revive each other. So you don't have to restart certain events as often because of that. Because death becomes not really a thing that happens, because you pick each other up quite often. Yeah, other than I don't think it's really happened much in this video, but other than performance stutters here and there, which have affected me and other people, it seems to be kind of arbitrary at times, but other than that, it's a pretty solid game. It looks pretty good while we're at it. I did try a few things, like drop the view distance slightly. That didn't seem to help. But, you know, some people say, hey, turn off HBO. HBO is a problem. Look, I like the effect of it, so I'm keeping it on. But if we turn on depth of field, motion blur, these two options, especially chromatic aberration, I could not play this game at launch because of the chromatic aberration. I think it's a god-awful effect. If you look on the left there, where the steering wheel icon is, you can see how it's red and blue down here, right up there. Yeah, it's really annoying because it makes because it's worse, or it's more pronounced on the edge of your screen, so it makes stuff like the trees there, it just looks bad. It doesn't look good. And yeah, I don't know what it is, but I just have a hard time playing with this stuff activated. It just doesn't look nice. It makes the game look kind of blurry. Not enjoyable. And there were patches out there to try and disable it, but it never worked right. So I'm happy the developers actually just threw something in for people like me to, allow me to disable it, so I could just play it the way I wanted. Because I sure as hell didn't like having those settings on. Because like I said, they didn't look particularly great. It was kind of annoying. So, look at that tree. I know it's going to be hard for you guys to see it because of the YouTube compression, even though I'm recording this at like 25 megabit, which is actually pretty high quality. Yeah, beyond that, I don't like depth of field effects very much. I don't like motion blur, kind of things where in a cutscene I understand, but in a game, not so much. Let's go ahead and turn those settings off. They're getting quite distracting now. But yeah, other than that, everything's more or less maxed out for PCSS, which, top of the head, I actually don't remember what that is. So, running at 16:9, this game typically runs on a 1080 Ti with a decent overclock on it, 1080 Ti and a heavily overclocked Ryzen 7. So, figure Ryzen 7 1800, I guess, in terms of speed. Which is 1700. No, 1800 is the high end, right? So, figure that kind of speed. I'm not even going to help those guys. It's the same random encounter I've seen a lot of times now. Which, fun fact, is not quite the same random encounter we see in multiplayer for some reason. I'm just seeing that one. Maybe it's the end of the game thing, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, in terms of performance, this game runs pretty good. I'm averaging over 100 frames a second. So, other than this random stutter issue, which, I don't know, it's been annoying, because lower end PCs don't have it. Some people say it's a certain setting. I've spent a little bit of time looking it up, but then I figured, deal with it. It's not that bad. It does get frustrating at times. It does get really bad occasionally, but restarting the game or just going to sleep seems to fix it a little bit. Yeah, otherwise, I think it's a good-looking game. They've done some interesting stuff. This is finally the game that Techland and these guys have been working on. This is finally the game where you go from some of their previous games went from, hey, these are interesting ideas, but not necessarily great, right? Not necessarily good executions. Whereas this game goes from that to, alright, they've done a good job with it. Now I want to see what they do next with this game. So it really is a turning point of, I think they've done everything they could really well. Now they just have to take their lessons they've learned and actually just improve upon that, as opposed to redoing a lot of things with their previous games. Trying to find the right formula, the right balance. I think this time around they found it. Now they just have to polish it more for future upcoming game. And I feel like said future upcoming game is probably coming soon, or maybe being announced soon, because despite being well past its prime, well past its launch window and that kind of stuff, where typical big sale numbers happen, this game's getting a lot of support, like 3 years later kind of deal, right? It got a decently big update not too long ago for some Easter events, and from what I was seeing, at least for that, definitely a lot of people out there playing it, because that Easter event was progressing along nicely. Hey, that's a vehicle skin. Tricolor paint job. Sure, let's put that on. But yeah, if they're putting out updates as a marketing tool as well, and as kind of a test for things that they want to do in their upcoming game, that's one of the best ways to go about it, right? You're giving people, you're renewing interest, you're putting out news, free coverage on this game. You can say, hey, look, people are looking at this game that's been out for a while. We're adding a battle royale mode. Yeah, okay, the battle royale mode's not as good as the real thing, because it's kind of small in scope, because there's not a lot of players in the game. But the fact that they're doing that, they're adding in content, they're adding in more events and stuff. They're going to come out in maybe a couple months, maybe a couple weeks, who knows. Can't wait too long though, right, for this to work. Yeah, if they're going to come out, say in a month, and say, by the way guys, new game's coming out soon, or we're now confirming the new game's going to come out soon, and they start showing it off. Look, you've already got a lot of people interested, and you've already got a lot of eyes on this game. It's a good time to bring out the next one. This is also a nice way to try out some things that, ambitious things that you may not be able to do in this game. I'm not going to spoil a secret mission for you guys. Even I don't know what's going to happen here, so we'll drive away. An interesting pairing of people there. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I think overall, like if they're gonna put out a new game, I think they're doing a good job marketing it at the very least. With all of this stuff, I wonder if I could zap all these guys. Feels like you kind of can you? Ouch, ouch. I guess not, because I'm zapping myself. Oh, we might have actually activated power here for some other mission. Now that I think about it. Oh. 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 Let's make our way up here. Pretty sure I could kick these guys in. No? No? Huh. I could have maybe kicked those guys in the boxes. And zap them. Could always use. Oh, I don't have grenades on me. That's unfortunate. Anywho, yeah, that's Dying Light and the expansion, Dying Light: The Following. I think overall they've, for the kind of game that I don't tend to play, right, especially since I have a huge Steam backlog, I don't really like these open world things of just driving one end to the other a lot, doing fetch quests. Kind of break the order of levels as well, because you're like, hey, we want to do side missions while we're at it, so, you know, while we're down here, let's do this one and this one and this one and this one. Then turn them all in, and then go down to the other end of the map, and then go back, and I find that kind of stuff tedious. This game doesn't offer you fast travel, so one of the nice things, you know, I talked about breaking kind of the upgrade, the flow in a sense. Well, yeah, you kind of wind up doing that with the upgrades. It's appreciated because you break up that repetition, you break up that that need to run around a lot, right? You're able to traverse the terrain much faster, so you don't find yourself spending as much time getting to point A to point B because you've got all these upgrades. So that ends up being a nice benefit. Oh hey, these guys are coming to pay me a visit. They always come in fours, conveniently enough. Oh, maybe not this time. You might be coming in eights. Usually it's 4-8. Taking advantage of this neat skill that I have. Oh, that guy dodged me. Ooh, damn, dude, you're pretty good at dodging. Shame you're dead. So, yeah, like I was saying, you know, for not being the kind of game that I tend to enjoy, the fact that it's kept me in for 40 hours, you know, partially is playing it co-op with Nick. Part of it is the story's kind of interesting. I like the fact that the expansion is such a different thing, right? It's familiar, but also very different. It fits in very nicely with how the story of the base game is as well. It almost feels like this was potentially another chapter at one point that, you know, a lot of games in general, they'll design way more content that you can realistically put in. So this could have very much been a cut chapter or something, because it does work in nicely with the rest of the game. Yeah, it's, you know, it's not one of these things where I'll say, hey, you absolutely must try it, because it was great, I had a ton of fun and whatnot. But it is something I will say that, you know, I wound up playing it more than I expected. You know, especially since I was not particularly convinced about this game at launch when I played it initially. But between the updates and the content stuff and the support they've been putting into it, yeah, it's come together. It's a decently nice package. Someone's right here. Yeah, knew it. Knew it. Somebody's throwing rocks in the distance now. Somewhere. He's probably in here. Yep. Yeah. You know, if you're gonna play co-op with someone, I think it's a fantastic game for that. And I'm listening for a plane now. I don't see it. There's an airdrop in that direction. Probably. Unless... No, it's the generator I heard. Damn. Damn, I got fooled by that. Yeah, and final recommendation here would be, if you've played these kinds of games before, and you like them, right? Like I said, personally for me, they're not great, but I know a lot of people do like these, you know, open world kind of adventure-y things. I think you'll find a lot of fun in this one as well, you know, especially if you've had some interest in it. I'd say go for it, or if you're still waiting for some reason or other, you know, this game does get cheap on Steam sales if that's also an issue. And I think playing it co-op definitely does make it that much more enjoyable, because again, it's not the kind of game I particularly enjoy. But playing it with someone else does mean that I spend a lot of time. I do get to spend a lot of time, you know, just talking about stuff, and it does eliminate some of the downtime between areas, which winds up making it just all that much more interesting to play. And yeah, definitely if you've not gotten the expansion, right? If you're also looking at this as, should I pick up the expansion? Absolutely. The expansion is a proper expansion. That, you know, the kind of thing we would have seen in the good old days when expansion packs were significant content. What was I trying to do here? I was pressing the wrong button. By the way, I should have probably mentioned this at the beginning. If you're wondering why these buttons look weird, that's because I don't use a standard QWERTY layout. So U is actually F, and K I believe is V. Yeah. So just in case you guys are wondering why, you know, occasionally comma and period, which are Q and E. In case you're wondering why these keys look weird, that's because that's. Don't worry about it. It's just my non-standard layout. But yeah, I think we're getting sidetracked here. I've been trying to throw a conclusion together, you know, thinking about all sorts of other things here. And we're actually not getting to a conclusion. So the actual conclusion is, like I said, if you are interested in the expansion pack, definitely worth it. I massively appreciate not necessarily the change in direction, but the fact that they did do something different. You know, you do get to use some different mechanics here, and they added a lot of variety in places where they didn't necessarily need to, but they went out of their way to make an interesting product. And oh, he was like one shot away, maybe two. He was one headshot away. Usually. Oh, he's not dead yet. Nice though. Heh. Those guys are stuck in a power plant.
We were done for. Thank you.
They'll never be able to get me. But yeah, that is Dying Light. I think overall, like I was mentioning before, it's the kind of game where if you've played these things before and you've had interest in it, I would recommend it. If you're kind of like me, you're undecided, but you have someone else who's really interested in playing it, I think you'll wind up having a decent time with it. It is a 40-hour-ish experience doing most of the content. I've got a couple side things, at least 2 major-ish missions, you know, primary or side missions, if you will. I've got a couple other, you know, like finding missing people and that kind of, doing the races. You know, these really, really side, not even side missions, but like just random quests, if you will, that are practically not important. Got a couple of those to do too. Yeah, there you have it. that's Dying Light plus the expansion, plus some random bits of DLC that were included with the whatever package that I bought on Steam. The game and that package I picked up does come on sale relatively often. Well, not relatively often, but it does come on sale. You know, during typical Steam sales, it does come on sale fairly cheap. And yeah, still interested in why they're doing content updates too, right? Ultimately, I think this is either Dying Light 2 or testing stuff for another similar game. Time will tell, but either way, I think it's overall still a really good package, and we'll it here because I'm stalling for no apparent reason, and this recording is going to be pretty long. It's going to take me quite a while to upload, so hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next week with another video.